Welcome to Your Family's Health, the program that focuses on healthcare issues with unique and different modalities for taking charge of your health today. Experts talk weekly with our continuing roster of guests from around the country and right here in Nassau County to keep you up to date on the latest health issues and trends. Take care of your mind, body, and soul. Spend the next half hour with the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and get on the journey to better health.
Hello and welcome to Your Family's Health. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the nursing department here at Nassau Community College. And today you're going to learn about something called lifestyle medicine, a specialty that uses therapeutic lifestyle interventions to treat certain chronic conditions. My guest today is Dr. Penny Stern, Chief of Preventive and Lifestyle Medicine at the Katz Institute for Women's Health and the Department of Occupational Medicine, Epidemiology and Prevention at Northwell Health. Dr. Stern, welcome to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction.
All right. So I kind of gave a brief synopsis of what lifestyle medicine is. Can you give us a deeper education as to what it is that you do?
Yeah, well, lifestyle medicine is the therapeutic use of evidence-based lifestyle interventions to treat and prevent lifestyle-related diseases in a clinical setting. We seek to empower individuals with the knowledge and the life skills to make effective changes that address the underlying cause of disease.
So you talk about lifestyle-related disease. What categories of illnesses does this fall under? Or is there a category, or is this just based upon your life?
Lifestyle-related diseases have to do with certain behaviors relating to what we call the pillars of lifestyle medicine. And that is related to nutrition, that is what people are eating, physical activity, stress management, sleep, restorative sleep, because sleep is really key, and many people have disturbed sleep, social connectedness, because, and I can talk about this at length if you'd like, but we know that being socially connected, people need relationships with each other, and that's a key element in health, and also avoiding unhealthy substances like alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs, these kinds of things. And people often feel that genetics is what really causes our problems. And genetics is not always to blame.
So what made you want to get into this type of medicine? What's your background?
That's a really interesting question. I started off, like many people, in internal medicine, general internal medicine, which most people are familiar with when you think about primary care medicine. And through sheer circumstances was introduced to the notion of preventive medicine, something I had literally never heard of. And this is going back decades now. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. And preventive medicine is health promotion, disease prevention. And I looked into it and I said, this really is meaningful for me, because one of the depressing parts of doing straight internal medicine is I never seemed to cure anybody. You would deal with people's blood pressure and you deal with their diabetes and other problems, and you just never actually, you didn't prevent and you didn't cure most of the time. So what I loved about preventive medicine was that you had the ability to apply preventive principles to practice to actually prevent the development of these chronic diseases. Now, preventive medicine, its companion piece is public health. And public health, otherwise known as population health in some quarters, really is not seeing patients one-to-one. It's dealing with population scale health. And to my surprise, I found that there was a field called lifestyle medicine, which developed over the past, you can actually say 2,500 years if you want to be particular about it, but in the last few decades, which basically took the principles of preventive medicine and applied it to one-on-one or small group practice. I fell in love with the idea of actually preventing these chronic problems. Something on the order of, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, but maybe people in the audience don't know, that something on the order of 40% of American adults have at least one chronic disease. That's about 130 million people. So this is really a major issue. And there are many reasons why this happened. But the truth is that we need to do something to stave off the development of chronic disease. And lifestyle medicine seemed to me to be the way to do it successfully. So my falling into this was purely an accident based on my background in preventive medicine and public health.
Do you think lifestyle medicine is mainstream?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it is mainstream. And I would point to probably from the late 1990s, with the development of the first textbook of lifestyle medicine, people began to really pay attention on a large scale, even though lifestyle medicine principles or principles related to what we now call lifestyle medicine have been spoken about for years. But after the publishing of that first textbook, then eventually a journal of public health was published, and residencies developed in lifestyle medicine. And soon there were thousands of people. At this point, I think the American College of Lifestyle Medicine has more than 9,000 members, and that includes physicians, nurses, PAs, NPs, nutritionists, many ancillary professionals in lifestyle medicine. But it has flourished tremendously, and people very much appreciate what they get out of lifestyle medicine. And the reason why lifestyle medicine is growing now is that epidemic of chronic disease that I was talking about, most of which is preventable. And these are the things that I've mentioned before, like diabetes and heart disease, and there's also inflammatory intestinal disorders and degenerative arthritis, obesity, and more. The estimate is that something like 60% of all deaths are caused in some way by our lifestyle patterns, and people have picked up on this. According to the World Health Organization, maybe 40% at least of cancers could be prevented by improvements in diet and lifestyle. And what has happened in the last century or so is that we have dramatically changed our nutritional choices, the way that food is stored, processed, shipped. Used to be you would grow your food or you would catch your food. And now if you want to eat, you just open the fridge or go to a fast food restaurant and there it is. And then, of course, the development of modern transportation and communication systems has really disincentivized physical activity. Mm-hmm. So we're not moving around much. And these changes have really sparked a crippling wave of morbidity and mortality, first in our developed world, and now it's in the developing world as well. We consume food that's less healthy, and we consume more of it than we ever did before. If you look at portion size now, it has changed from what portion size used to be. We have a more stressed society. It's a society in which people are less able to find rest and sleep and the social and even spiritual support that they need. So this is really the opening for lifestyle medicine.
So, Dr. Stern, do you think that lifestyle modifications are more effective in eliminating chronic diseases and illnesses than medications themselves?
No, I think when people have problems like high blood pressure, for example, high blood pressure is that's my line in the sand. I don't negotiate high blood pressure. People who have high blood pressure need to do what it takes to lower it. That means taking medication, or it might mean losing weight, or it might mean starting to exercise. All of these things are relevant, but medicine definitely has a role to play. But the idea behind the pillars of lifestyle medicine are to prevent the development of these chronic diseases to begin with. So if people are engaging in the kinds of behaviors that we recommend, it will stave off the development of some of these diseases. Now, look, people can do everything right. There are people who literally do everything right. They exercise, they eat right, they sleep, and still something happens. I mean, bad things happen to good people. But there's a lot that can be done to prevent, and if it's going to happen, maybe to delay its onset. But no, medication has its place. I actually gave a talk yesterday to a group, and one of the people said, well, don't you think that medicine has been harmful? And I said, no, you got to go back historically and see just how great medicine has been. Antibiotics, the rise of controlling things that used to kill people. All the medications that we use now to control various chronic diseases, diabetes, people died from it. It was nothing to do about it. Now we can actually treat it. People can replace insulin if necessary. There's, other medications. So medications definitely have their place, and we don't, we don't say stop taking medicine and just walk and you'll be cured. But there are people who have managed through lifestyle changes to effect remarkable changes, like people who have certain kinds of coronary artery disease go on a predominantly plant-based diet, and their coronary artery disease actually can reverse, which is extraordinary. You see it on angiograms. That's photographs of the circulatory system of the heart, and you're amazed that a vessel that looked closed is now patent, is now open. So there are things that can be done, but never would we say that people should not be taking medication that they need to take. That would be a gross oversimplification.
You're listening to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard, and today you're learning about lifestyle medicine, a specialty that uses therapeutic lifestyle interventions to treat certain chronic conditions. My guest today is Dr. Penny Stern, Chief of Preventive and Lifestyle Medicine at the Katz Institute for Women's Health and the Department of Occupational Medicine, Epidemiology and Prevention at Northwell Health. What specific health problems can lifestyle medicine help to treat?
Wow, that's a big question. We can help people change the way they sleep. We can help them change the way they eat. We can help them change the way they manage stress. All of this can impact on conditions like obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. We recommend, for example, that people follow the American Heart Association and other groups' recommendation for 150 minutes of moderately intense physical activity every week, which breaks down to, for most people, about 30 minutes a day. The benefits of exercise are legion. Even small increases in exercise have been shown to help in the management and prevention of many chronic diseases. I like to view exercise as a necessary medication. And unless somebody's job is a personal trainer or physical therapist or a construction worker or some other role that really requires concerted physical activity, most people can't point to what they do at work as including enough movement. So we really encourage physical activity. We discuss what people do. We discuss strategies to start to exercise for people who are not engaging in physical activity. The benefits also include better sleep. People who are routine exercisers sleep better. And we know that sleep is essential for a number of metabolic and hormonal processes. We know that people who are routine exercisers are more likely to have good brain health because it increases the blood supply to the brain, which can lessen the chances of developing certain kinds of dementia. People who are routine exercisers also have less stress, and stress is a huge component, as has been studied for the last almost, about 100 years now, to various chronic diseases. People who with high blood pressure who exercise and maintain their weights at a healthy level may find they require less medication to manage their blood pressure. We know that people who are routine exercisers can have reduced inflammation. And this is important because inflammation raises heart disease risk. There are just so many things associated with exercise, and you don't have to do it all at once. People can do bursts of exercise, 3 to 8 minutes at a time can contribute to getting that 30 minutes a day of physical activity. And for some people, getting more exercise really requires a little bit of planning, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or if you're a driver, driving further away and walking the rest of the distance. Walking is the best exercise. You don't need special equipment. You don't have to join a gym or a club. People have limited mobility and they can't walk easily. There's chair yoga, there's chair tai chi, There's Tai Chi Easy, there's swimming, aerobics, and exercises that can be done while seated. In terms of diet, I mentioned that we promote a plant predominant diet. That's a plant-based whole food diet. And nutrients, vitamins, minerals, we address all that, but as part of an overall healthy eating plan and not specifically taking supplements. And we work very closely with our nutritionist colleagues to guide people. Less sugar, less refined carbohydrates, like white rice and pastries and bagels and white flour products, more fruit and vegetables, legumes, that's like beans and peas and chickpeas and lentils and so forth, whole grains, nuts. Whole grains are the grains that have all parts of the cereal, in contrast to refined grains that take that out. And this kind of diet also helps increase dietary fiber, which is something that people don't usually get enough of. And there are recommendations for daily fiber for men and women, and most people just don't get enough of it. They're eating too much processed foods. We recommend no processed foods and less saturated fats. The plant-based diet lowers the diabetes risk for people. Things like soluble fiber, like oat bran. Oat bran lowers post-meal insulin secretion. Vegetable proteins like soy or peas, they help modulate insulin sensitivity. There are complex sugars, not refined sugars, and unprocessed natural foods like fruits and vegetables, and those prevent rapid changes in glucose and insulin. Many lifestyle medicine practices are able to maintain a teaching kitchen where people learn to cook healthfully, because people will be preparing plant-based meals that are unfamiliar to them. Also, home-cooked meals are always healthier than anything you can get in a restaurant, because a home cook can control everything, like the salt content. There's no additives and chemicals usually in home-prepared meals. And of course, as I said before, controlling portions, which is a key contributor to overweight today when compared to years in the past when portions were smaller. We want people to maintain hydration, good hydration, water, seltzer, not club soda, which has salt in it, but plain old seltzer, not sweetened beverages or juices. Those have high calories and they're often high in added sugar. We talk about mindful eating when you're actually hungry, enjoying food, being aware of food, not eating out of boredom or automatic feeding. It's many people just have nothing else to do, they eat. Of course, we don't recommend alcohol in particular. It's high in calories. It's low in nutritional value. We are very interested in sleep. People boast about sleeping a few hours a night, and they're fooling themselves, because the benefits of sleep and the consequences of sleep loss have been well defined. Since we invented the electric bulb and we moved from the farm to an urban lifestyle, we've all developed sleep problems. The electricity made it possible to stay up all night, and people do. We're hardwired as humans to sleep when it's dark and be awake in the light, and that's how we are. But electricity has really changed it, and not for the better. You're probably familiar with the problems of electronic devices. All of them have that so-called blue light, certain nanogram length light that stimulates receptors in the retina, and it really impacts on sleep-wake cycles. And when it's disturbed, your sleep will be disturbed, and that's a problem, because we need good sleep, even for things like consolidation of memory. People think they're becoming demented and they're really not sleeping enough, and so they don't consolidate memory, they become forgetful. Immune suppression, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, depression, accidents, car accidents, all are associated with lack of sleep. So we promote restorative sleep. By the way, for people who don't know, that's about 7 to 8 hours a night, ideally, except for teenagers who need more, and they don't get it, but they need about 9 hours at least of sleep. And we can go on and on talking about what we tell patients about how to change their sleep habits, their sleep hygiene. And it always involves, exercise, which helps with sleep, eating right, even plain old walking for a few blocks will help sleep that night. Sleeping in a cool bedroom, not a hot bedroom, sleeping in a darkened room, quiet is good. People take naps in the daytime because they didn't sleep at night. We caution against napping too late in the day because that disturbs the sleep-wake cycles. So you can go on and on about what we do. We encourage people to think about all of these factors and to really, work on changing the behaviors. Even little changes can have big impacts. So it's not like telling people to make massive changes all at once. It's really hard to do that. And people have been immensely helped by making these changes, eliminating stress. You can't get rid of all stress, but if you can identify your stressors, it's possible to reduce them at least. And of course, we tell people who are stressed do the same things we tell them regarding everything else about exercise, nutrition. It begins to sound very redundant, but it really does work. Meditation, yoga, mindfulness. There's a lot of misconceptions about meditation that it's associated with some kind of religions, and it doesn't have to be that. And there's no way to do it wrong. And it's really good. If you don't have time to meditate, that means you don't have time for yourself. So meditation is a great technique for helping to reduce stress. It can help lower blood pressure, reduce pain, improves, emotional health. People with anxiety, people with asthma, people with certain kinds of chronic pain find that meditation helps. And in our Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine, we have other modalities that we recommend to people who are interested, things like yoga, Tai Chi, all sorts of stress busters. And they really, the research is clear that these help. So it's not necessarily giving somebody a prescription for something of a medication, but rather prescribing certain kinds of behavioral changes.
You're listening to Your Family's Health on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard, and today you're learning about lifestyle medicine, a specialty that uses therapeutic lifestyle interventions to treat certain chronic conditions. My guest today is Dr. Penny Stern, Chief of Preventive and Lifestyle Medicine at the Katz Institute for Women's Health and the Department of Occupational Medicine, Epidemiology and Prevention at Northwell Health. Dr. Stern, what is to be said about social connectedness? What does that mean in lifestyle medicine?
Well, we recognize the importance of relationships and how necessary they are to emotional resiliency. And we know that people who live in isolation are at increased risk for mortality. So when we meet a patient, we consider their community, their home environment, and the impact on their health. We promote the value of positive emotions, laughter, optimism, gratitude. These really form a central role in well-being. The physiologic and psychological effects of laughter, for example, are supported in the research as a real healing agent for both the person who's giving it and the person who's getting it.
How is that prescribed, social connectedness?
We talk to people about the power of human connection.
Mm-hmm.
Do they interact with other people? Are they involved perhaps in volunteer work? Are they involved in spiritual work? Some people are, some people aren't. For some people, it's a great source of solace for them, and for other people, not so much. We know that there's a deep need for humans to connect. This is clear. Also, connection to pets. Mm-hmm. Like dogs, and that's been especially well researched because dogs, as you know, have been used for a long time as therapeutic agents in medical schools, hospitals, and elder care facilities. You and some of the listeners may be familiar with a very famous study that was published years ago in the American Journal of Public Health that looked at the connection between spirituality, religion, and mortality. Mm-hmm. And they found a 23% reduction in mortality among routine religious service attenders. And that was defined as, going to a service once a week as compared to non-attenders. And they wanted to explore, what did that mean? Like, why was this happening? And it turned out it was the social connectedness. Maybe God's looking out for his own, but the truth is, if you're a regular goer and you don't show up, people are going to call you up and say, hey, we missed you. Where were you? And this kind of social connectedness is really important for people. for people for whom connecting with faith is important. We encourage that, connecting with nature, connecting with yourself. And there are many ways some people really, they need help in establishing where are the sources, what kind of volunteer work might they be interested in? What kind of social groups might work for them? Maybe it's getting involved with alumni groups if they went to a school. I mean, the list is almost endless. And you would be surprised, especially during COVID, how many people became uber isolated. Right. They were alone. They were not going out, and nobody was coming in, and they did not have anybody with them. And it was terrible. Yeah. So that's key.
So is lifestyle medicine covered by insurance?
Yes, I'm a physician, and it is covered. What's not covered, and my dream, of course, is to have these things covered, across the board for everybody. But I, as a physician, am covered. But if I say to somebody, you might want to try yoga, in our center, the first yoga class is free. But let's say you want to keep doing it. There's a fee involved. Okay. Very few insurance companies will cover yoga. Okay. But lifestyle medicine is like every other medical specialty. It is covered.
So where can someone get in touch with you?
The easiest thing is to go online to the website of the Katz Institute for Women's Health, which is easy to find. It's www.northwell.edu/Katz Institute for Women's Health. And you can search around on there for many things, many of our programs, and also lifestyle medicine, or people can call our resource line. It's 855-850-KIWH for Katz Institute for Women's Health. My practice, the lifestyle medicine practice, is located at our Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine, which is located in Roslyn. But we also do telehealth for people who are not located close to to that part of Nassau County. Yeah, and we've seen many people. We think we've made a difference.
Very collaborative practice. I like the goals.
That's a key.
And the pillars.
Key competency of ours is to be interdisciplinary.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Penny Stern, Chief of Preventive and Lifestyle Medicine at the Katz Institute for Women's Health and the Department of Occupational Medicine, Epidemiology and Prevention at Northwell Health. We hope you stay safe and continue to stay healthy and doing the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the Nursing Department here at Nassau Community College. And we want to thank you for listening to this week's edition of Your Family's Health.
We'd like to get your feedback on your family's health. Send your comments by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu. Podcasts of today's show are available on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This program was produced at the studios of Nassau Community College in cooperation with the Nursing Department. Join us next week for another edition of Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.